good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Gilles.
How is
Good
it?
morning.
Morning.
Okay. How are you today?
Very good. The weather is phenomenal, finally. After 6 months of garbage, summer's finally starting. So you're in Canada too, aren't you, Hamza?
No, I'm in the UK.
In the UK, sorry. Somebody else last week. Yeah. And it's probably similar for you. Summer's
Yeah,
starting.
we're in the middle of our 2 weeks of sunshine of the year.
I was in London in July last year, and it was incredibly hot.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh no, London's nice. They get nice weather, but we're stuck up here in the sort of mountainous north, and it's always cloudy and raining, and you get the winds from the Atlantic as well.
Yeah, it was. We will absolutely be back. Out of all of our travels from 24, 25, London was one of our favorites. It was absolutely amazing. So anyway, hopefully everybody had a great long weekend. I just got a notification that TQQQ is at all-time highs, and SQQQ at all-time low. Imagine that. So the Qs, yeah, they're ripping this morning. Wow, I hadn't looked at them yet. I was looking at MNQ, which is not at all-time highs. But Qs are ripping. So the market is open. And there we go. And SPY also above all-time highs. So let's see what happens here. There's quite the move. Oh, I forgot to open up for my students. There, and there, and there, and there we go. There we go. Sorry about that, Will. Sorry.
Can you hold the SQQQ short overnight?
Good question. I assume so. It's just a regular ETF, right? But I never have. I don't hold those leveraged positions overnight. But for anybody asking, let's go over here. I was looking at this with a student yesterday, so I don't need this anymore. So let's go to TQQQ. So this is the leveraged ETF that mimics the Qs, but obviously at a much, much lower price. And so it's more of a trading tool. But SQQQ, which we were talking about, for those that can't go short or can't sell, can't short stocks, you can get long when you think that the Qs are going down. Now, let's look at Friday afternoon here. The Qs were going down, that was last Friday afternoon. The Qs were going down. Well, you can go long SQQQ, right? So this is the inverse ETF. So whenever you want to short the Qs, and for any reason, maybe you can't short, you can buy into SQQQ. So, but the overnight question, good question. I have no idea.
The only reason I'm asking is I'm looking at the daily chart of the SQQQ, and you could literally put a blindfold over your eyes, and as long as your position size is managed, you could have gone short in any point in history and made money, which is kind of weird. I'm not sure how it works.
Yeah, sorry, can you re-explain that? I've got it. You are talking about SQQQ on the daily.
Yeah, it just seems to go down no matter what.
Well, because the Qs are going up, right? If you look at the daily of the Qs.
I don't think the Qs go up that smoothly though.
Yeah, I don't know. The last since this low over here, look at this massive bull run. And now at all-time highs again. So yeah, SQQQ just basically does the opposite of the Qs. and basically the opposite of TQQQ. So it's also 3x leveraged. So whatever move happens during the day, this will move approximately 3 times that. The ins and outs of how it works and how it's, I mean, it's all based on options and complicated math, which, you know, I've never bothered to look at.
Oh, right. I just asked ChatGPT and it said that it's in a state of permanent decay, and that's the way it's designed. So it is only a daytime trading tool.
Yeah.
I've held it overnight before. Back in the day.
It is possible. That's why I was hesitating. I thought it was.
I don't recommend it.
I would not recommend it either. I don't like
UXVY. UXVY I've held over too. It's a decay also. Decay product.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. So Qs and SPY at all-time highs. Markets have been open almost 5 minutes now. So let's look at what happens here. We are, you know, in pre-market made all-time highs. We are above R6 over here. We are above the weekly high and last week's high, or the closing, or sorry, the Friday high over here. I don't know why yesterday high, must be a glitch here. Yesterday high is printing at Thursday's high, but yesterday's high should be Friday's high over here. So anyway, I've got these levels on here. I would, if this gave me a signal later on, I would absolutely take this short to close this gap. If it gave me the signal, it could happen right now. Gaps want to be closed. Look at what happened yesterday in futures. So the futures market was open from Sunday 6 p.m. Up until Monday 1 p.m. Even though the NASDAQ and the NYSE were closed on very low volume, the MNQ, MES were open, and other futures as well. But look at how it climbed up, and then don't bother with all my writing here. Came down, has not closed this gap, but basically retraced the entire move from the short session yesterday. And I would not be surprised, and again, it's not a prediction. I would have to see my signals, but I would not be surprised to see this gap fill over here. So what I am looking at on MNQ here is there room to the left? Well, there is, right? There's room to the left because we have not been there in a while. If I were to look over here, I would say, no, there's no room to the left. Let me just draw, you know, this is a question that's often posed. Over here, there's no room to the left, but from the top, there was, right? And this wick over here took out liquidity. So I would have loved to have shorted right over here, but I didn't get my signal. I will not short it in the first 5 minutes. So what am I going to do? I'm going to draw my fibs from the top, right? We have had an impulse move towards the low, towards the bottom here. So I'm going to draw my fibs over here, and I'm going to stop it where we possibly reverse. Right now, that's where it is. So we'll see, does it come back into the 50 here? And if it does, this is where I would short it for the continuation down. And this is something that I might take right now. So let me put my levels perfectly on at the right places. So the low of this candle right now is 26.50. 26.50, and the high of this candle is 35.75. So I'm okay there. So where it is right now, I'm going to go into paper trading here. There we go. Limit order, sell with exit and stop loss. The stop would be right above 61.8. The entry would be right below the 50. And take profit would be a 3R, which I'll move up in a minute. I would want this to be at $100, just for example purposes. It goes to whatever's closest without going over, so it's 91.50. And for right now, that's where it is. So I would click sell. Right, so that's a limit order right now. It's only a paper trade. As far as the target, that would be the entry. That would be the stop. And I could tell that I'm going to get to 3 before getting to the bottom. So that's why I put it on before calculating. The 3 is right there. So that's what I'd be looking for. This, I would move to 3R. There you go. That's how I'm building it mechanically. Runak, 45 minutes away. Where are you, Runak? If you don't mind saying in the chat or on mic. I'm going to hit confirm over here. And we shall see what happens. I am going to look on Top Step over here and possibly, there we go. Right, I feel confident in this trade, and it could fail. At the end of the day, it's okay. 29,880 MNQ. 29,880. Let's see what happens here. It is showing a lot of strength right now, but this is a mechanical type of trade. There you go. Stop at 29,895. 29,895. Profit at 29,835. 29,835. So there you go. That's my strategy right there. If it takes me out, that's fine. If it works 50% of the time or even less, it's okay because the winners are 3R, and there you go. It's taking me out right away. The thing I did not like about this is the fact that it was very strong over here. If you go to a 2-minute or even a 1-minute over here, it probably put in a fair value gap on the way up over here. Right, that's the only thing. But you know what? On the 5-minute, it gave me an entry for a possible retracement down. So that's why I took it live. There you go. MES, what's it doing? Very similar price action. I'm going to stay on MNQ, and I want to see what it does over here. Yeah, it's strong. There's buyers getting involved in here. MGC. Let's take these drawings off. So the only thing I don't like about what I just did is that it's in the first 15 minutes, right? I don't usually trade the first half hour. I just, at all-time highs over here, when we do see selling pressure, there is a possibility that we are going to fail, because if we have trouble finding buyers at premium over here, then the market makers and the algos need to go find buyers lower. And it just seems like they found them over here. Look at the size of that candle. But if this gave me my rejection signal at the tops here, and it is, sorry, it's all-time highs on the Qs, but not on MNQ. If it gave me rejection signals over here, and I already have an alert up here, I would possibly take the rejection out here. Or if it breaks out with momentum, I might take the break and retest for higher. But the psychological level of 30,000 is right over here. So it's really interesting to follow. going to take this off now. Actually, I could always share this right there, because I do share my trades in the Discord, and this was a live trade, so I will take a picture of it and share the fact that this one did not work. There you go. When they're just regular paper trades, I don't document them all. But when I do take them live, I do document. I put everything in my journal. Calendar.
Hey, Jill.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, what kind of strike rate are you getting with 50% retracement strategy?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I'm still building it out. I've got a lot of moving parts in what I'm doing right now. From what I've back tested on MNQ, it is more than 50. I have not calculated exactly what it is. I'm still building out the rules. This is what my rules are looking like right now. So I can't really answer in an honest way. It's absolutely more than 50%. It's probably close to, I don't know, 60.
Yeah.
Maybe 70. If you follow the rules that I have put out, and one of them is I do not trade the first 30 minutes, which I just broke. Right. So that I would categorize as a category 3 trade, because I should not have taken it, even though I thought that, we're going down and we're retesting. Had I waited for the 30 minutes. So if I wait 30 minutes, or if I trade this was a post market yesterday. Post market, I can trade early, pre-market over here, I can trade. And after the first 30 minutes. So that's where I've done most of my testing. And when I do follow those rules, it is absolutely higher than 50%. So the actual number, I don't know yet. I'm trying to do a little bit too much at the same time. Building out the trade book, that is crazy how strong that is. Building out the trade book, I'm working on making this mechanical. Therefore, to actually have an algo trade this, especially here in these times, right? It's pre-market. Sorry if you're not seeing 3, 4, 5, 6 a.m. Eastern time. So yeah, a lot of moving parts. Still building it out.
Sounds good.
Interesting how fast it made it up here. Are we sweeping up here? This will be very interesting. As far as the cam pivots, we're probably above on the Qs, we're above R6. On MNQ, we're just approaching yesterday's high, pre-market high, and we are below R3. Sorry, what were you
I don't know if TradingView is got an error, but the relative volume on the MNQ right now is 13 times as usual for this time of day. That is that's quite unusual, quite special, really.
Yeah, let's just measure it. This was volume. This is the opening candle on Friday, right? And this is the opening 5-minute candle on Tuesday. A little bit hard to see there with all this here, but let's just move it out of the way. There we go. It kind of looks normal, right? It's not all the way up here, right? Let's say that this is the average right here, right? I'm just looking at the first candle here, first 2 candles. So it's definitely high volume, but is it, what did you say, 13% higher than usual?
According to this, 13 times higher.
13 times. Holy, yeah. I don't see it. I think it might be a glitch.
Yeah, it seems a bit unusual.
Yeah. CVD would definitely be interesting here. Let's indicators. Let's look at what's happening with the CVD. Will it run out of steam at the tops here? I would not necessarily, and I know people that would. As soon as it spikes up over here, people will put in an order to sell. And it's a strategy that can work. You know, if you know your strategy and you know where to put your stop, it's a strategy that can work 50% of the time. Right? What are the chances? I mean, it can either break out here or it can absolutely wick up and reject. So there are people that can build an edge around that. Let's take this silly trade
coming into that 30,000 round number.
Yeah, that's where I had my my alert here. So let's see what happens there. Okay.
I think I know why it's throwing up this issue. It measures the relative volume based on the same candle time.
It's yesterday.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's as soon as you started talking, it's like, oh yeah, yesterday was a holiday. It always happens after a long weekend.
Yeah.
A little bit less people in here today than usual. I don't know if you know, after a long weekend. It was a long weekend in the States. I don't think it was a long. I know it wasn't a long weekend in Canada. We had our long weekend last weekend. Take this out and take this out. Anybody see anything else? Oil. I had a nice trade on oil here on Sunday night. I shared it in the here. I'll explain it here. What the heck? Start a new right over here. So I was watching oil on Sunday night, right over here when oil opened and gap down. I like seeing a gap down. For my strategy, there has to be an impulse move. A fair value gap needs to print, or we need to see a big move down. So this is what I was seeing on Sunday night. I looked to the left. There's lots of room to the left. The support I found to be possibly over here, around the 90 level. So I was actually looking at this and saw that it came down and then was starting to move up. But then it wicked it down over here. So this is where I put the fibs. I started it at, I didn't start it at the beginning, or sorry, the close of Friday. I put it at the open of Sunday. So I started it here and went down to the bottom of this wick, moved it right. And then I was looking at it. I actually got in. I did this on Top Step because on my own live account, I do not trust putting trades on overnight. With Top Step, it's almost like paper trading, so I wasn't too worried. So what I did over here, once it made it to the 50, I entered short. Not sure where it was, right around here, entered short with a stop right above the 61.5. I did this. This was at 9:30 at night. And I put it on and put the take profit at 3 and the stop loss at -1. And I set it, and actually I didn't turn off the computer, but I put the computer to sleep, closed the office door, and figured, you know what, this is a first. I walked away, and then I just looked at it the next morning. However, it got to target within minutes. When I wasn't looking at it, at 11 p.m. it got the target at plus 3R. So this was a good one. There was volume over here, and there was news that things are supposedly, well, at least at this point, things were possibly coming to an end with the Iran and U.S. conflict. So that could bring price of oil down. But this, again, I wasn't aiming for the moon, 3R, and got to it right there. And what I just did right now, I just gave back 1R. Trying to short over here. It was too early, and that's okay. I'm going to document it. And over here, I will not do anything until we breach this high. Anything going on in anything else? ATC.
Oil's climbing back up towards the Friday session, and seemingly the metals are heading in the opposite direction again.
Oil over here. So this is a gap that needs to be filled. So if you're long oil from wherever this was, 1 p.m. at the close of futures yesterday, it reopened at 6, or this one closed at 2 p.m. Pretty sure M and Q closed at 1. Whoops, what am I going here? Monday. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, seeing the M&Q closed at 1, oil closed at 2 p.m. So that was a little bit different between those two futures. But if I were long over here, I would absolutely be aiming to close this gap. Not necessarily keep going, but come and get the sellers or whoever's left over here for the possible continuation down. Who knows what it's going to do from there. But this is so news driven that it could just shoot up at any time. Get news on your phone and then watch the chart. I do. I think I've mentioned it in here that I have downloaded Truth Social. I only follow one person, and there's default others that are followed when you register. But I want to know what Trump says and what he sends out. Other than that, if I'm not at the chart, I will set levels. Like before 10:30, I'm going to set levels. I already have a level here. As far as levels, I mean alerts. So I want to know what it does at the top. If it starts moving down here, I'm not interested unless it takes the top off. If it does, I will get an alert and I will look at the possibility of either shorting or, if it's a breakout, possibly retesting. And if it retests, I want it to retest at a 50% retracement. So that's where my break and retest is. There's a little bit of a nuance in my break and retest, but usually I like it to come back 50%. Other than that, I don't usually trade news. The only reason I do like having news is because there's the M&Q crossing, and there's the alert. What I like about news is that it creates these gaps, right? It creates the impulse move, and that's what I need for my strategy. There has to be an impulse move. And that's the other thing, that there was a lot of selling at the open here, but was it really an impulse move? Well, it did create a 5-minute fair value gap, right? And that's what I need. And there was a fair value gap right here, right, to the downside. So I need a fair value gap, and news will often create those gaps. So that's why I like having them. And by the way, Suzanne, I just saw that you shared an image in the Discord. Let me just, I won't share it, but just right before I came in, I just, did you take it off? No, it was in trade screenshots. There you go. Just by looking at it very quickly, that looks like, what tool is it? MNQ. Let me just see where it was. 9 a.m. Tuesday, May 20. Was that this morning on MNQ? Right over here, right? It's on Dutch time, okay? So I think it was this, right? So let's draw it over here. So there's your beginning, and there's the top where it started pulling back. Now, is that a good 50% retracement? Absolutely, it is. Absolutely. The reason I possibly would not have taken it, I like that it's right at a level, so it didn't give the impulse move, but it's absolutely at a level of possible support. So starting it here, and then where it starts pulling back over here, that's a great fib. Right, from there to there, entry at the 50. Right, entry at the 50 long, right here. Stop at 61.8. Aim for 3. That's, I mean, aim for 3, or, you know, right now, if you had held, it's at 8. But this would have been very scary over here because you were already up, you know, 4.4 R over here. And then are you holding through the open? Right? And it comes all the way down. Most people will just say, oh, I'm cutting it. So that's personally why I like aiming for 3, because it hits it very, very often. And if you're trying to program an algorithm to do this for you, aiming for 3 is very high probability. So yeah, that was a great trade. So we've made it above 30,000. Let's see what happens here. CVD is still climbing. If anybody wants to chat and wants to, I'll just either you have questions for me or you want to talk amongst yourselves, please don't hesitate. And no problem, Suzanne. Thanks for sharing. I didn't draw it for the simple reason of this chop here. Right? I like drawing see like this, right? This is absolutely an impulse move up, but there's no room to the left unless you consider this as the bottom. Then it came down, right? This being the start of your next one. And then you right at this candle right here, right here, then it retraced, did not make it to the 50 for the entry. Now for the break, did it break 30 with momentum? It broke it, but then opened, wicked, and then came down. So right now there's a battle, right? Battle between the buyers and sellers. Who's going to win the battle? I like to see what's happening in NES as well. NES is not at all-time highs. So this is just chopping around. I don't see anything in here. Oil, I'd like to know if it makes it up here. So I would put an alert here. I'd like to look at it if it takes this off. Okay, see you later, Will. Anybody take anything, or is anybody looking at anything? $675. Yeah. Far. This is one of those things that just might chop around yesterday high, pre-market high, all-time high over here, before deciding on a direction. So this is one of them that I would absolutely be looking at. I want to see an impulse move. And what I mean by an impulse move, it's momentum. Momentum that often causes a fair value gap to print. Anybody trades DJT, it's up 6.5%. That's not it. Wow, this little candle here is 6.5%. That can't be right. Yeah, I guess so. What happens when you trade a $8 stock? That's incredible. This tiny little candle here is 6%. Oh. You imagine somebody loading the boat on this and, hoping to get back to this silliness over here, or even this silliness. Crazy. I do not trade this stuff. I just put it on here because I got the alert. Let's look at our usual suspects. NVIDIA, just chopping within the opening range. By that, I mean the opening 30-minute range. Tesla, same. Cerebrus, I'm definitely keeping this on my radar. I've got an alert over here when it gets, if it gets close to the IPO price. I had CVNA on my chart. It is moving. This was something we were looking at on Friday. These candles, I put an image in the Discord, but these candles here are absolute garbage. When you see candles like this is algo trading. This is zero volume type of trading. All these right here. But now that the market has opened, what is the volume on this? Yeah, 308. It's not very high volume, but it's moving up. You know, up from the low to to where it is right now, 5.4%. Lower volume than the open on Friday, considerably lower volume. Is this a NYSE? Yeah, it's a NYSE stock. If anybody's listening, do you know how I could tell on this? You're listening. Thank you for sharing. The reason I know it's an NYSE stock is that, thank you, Saber, for confirming that there's people in here. And if I'm on mute because you guys are doing your own thing, that's fine too. The reason I could tell it was a NYSE stock is the first 5-minute candle over here with barely any volume. NYSE is notorious for this. Where the opening is really, really mellow, subdued volume, especially the first candle. You know, it won't happen every time, but this on Friday, and then, you know, the next candle, then you see the volume coming in. I do not trade many NYSE stocks. I don't trade equities at all right now. I'm only doing futures, but this is, if you are trading NYSE, be very careful of the opening candles. They're often very, very low volume, right? And you can tell here it's on NYSE. If you go to Tesla, here you've got your NASDAQ, right? And NVIDIA and INTC and pretty much anything that we look at is, and this is on ARCA, on NYSE, the SPY. But other than that, pretty much everything we trade is on the NASDAQ. And by we trade, I mean the Mag 7, usually in AMD. So MAQ, you know, making it a little bit higher here. Definitely not, as far as my trade book is concerned, not a short indication yet. I do want to know where the R3, I believe, is right up here. So if it were to spike up above R3 here and reject, put in a kangaroo tail or a possible double top at a level, that's the thing with all-time highs, is that it's hard to find a level, right? There's nothing. You go left, we haven't been there, right? This is all-time highs. Just got to be careful here. Just want to make sure. MNQ, yeah, so we are at all-time highs right now. So as far as picking levels, it can be difficult. Some people use measured moves, right? If I were to do this, and I'll go to my 1 minute measured move. So there you go. That changes the fib over here. We can use the first 5-minute range, right? From there to there. Look at where it is right now. It's not saying that this is a short from here, but these measured moves can often be telling. The first 30-minute. It's like this case, baby. It's like 30. So let's go over here. Obviously, it's going to be much wider. I think I said it's like this right over here, right? So that's your first 30-minute range. That's the next level. If you use a first 30-minute range, it depends on what you use. I like the first 1 minute because it is often respected. So that's the first 1 minute candle. There we go. Came down very close to the first 1 minute. Look here, and look at how it aligns with R3. So it depends what you like. Go back to my golden zone. There we go. Actually, there we go. That's the one I like. So this will be interesting over here. What does it do here? If for me to short, it would have to really spike up and sell. Right now, I'm not planning on selling. This is very, very strong. I wish I had seen Suzanne's retracement over here for give me a bias to go long. But it was this chop here, right? But it was at a level. I have this white line here for a reason. So anyway, that would have been a good entry here, but I would not have held through the opening range. CBD still climbing. So this is FOMO, you know, fear of missing out. People are buying at premium right now. Look at this. After the pullback over here, right? We went up, pulled back, start the fib there, go up to the top here. Yeah, I retraced a bit, but not enough. If I wanted to continue going long, I would wait for it to pull back, and I would put this fib here, and this would be a likely place for the reload long. This is where I would put my fib, not at the bottom. Let me explain this. Let me take this away, right? We went up, right? But then we retraced. Look at this kangaroo tail here. This is a trendy kangaroo, right? The trend is higher, right? The trend is buying. We pulled back over here and then continued higher. But on this pullback, this is where I like putting my fibs. And over there. Now, if I were to short, if this were to give me my entry signal to short, I possibly would take it, but it would have to give me 3R before getting to 50. Because the higher time frame, it's not higher time frame, sorry, the trend right now is buying. Right? So even if it gave me a short, I would have to be able to get to it to 3R before it got to 50 or right around the 50. Hopefully that makes sense. Here we go. And it's 9:22, sorry, 10:22. I will be cutting out in about 6 or 7 minutes. Slow start to the week. Yeah, it's hard to predict, Hamza. I was setting up my other computer, and that's all I heard. I didn't hear the conversation, but I heard somebody say that it might be a nothing burger week. And yeah, hard to tell. Right now, I think I did no predictions, but it's honestly hard to believe with everything that's going on right now, how extended we are. And by extended, I mean, let's look at the Qs and let's look at the daily. Let's get this volume out of here. Right, this that was March. So yeah, from March of this year, we've just been climbing. I'm expecting, and I'm not predicting, but I'm expecting a pullback one of these days. And that's why I've got these levels here, or at least this one here. If we do pull back, if I were to short for a swing, I would absolutely be looking at here. And I put this line here. Actually, I was explaining something to my mother-in-law as far as, you know, people that try to time the market for investments. Well, right now, not necessarily the time to be buying for long term. If I were trying to time the market, I'd wait for a pullback in this general area. right? Because especially higher time frame and investing purposes, eventually there will be a pullback. I don't know where it's going to pull back to. I don't know how deep it's going to be. There's going to be another level right here. Are we going to make it down to this level too? Don't know. Let's go back to the 5. There you go. It's Q's on the 5, way above our 6. MNQ still. I think I took away the fib here, but I'm going to put it back. I'm going to put both on. From the bottom to the top. We don't know where the top is right now, but just for now, it keeps going up. I can't even put it up there right now. So that is 29,953. Excuse me, close to central pivot. And here to here. That's the 50 there. So if we were to start pulling back, just to come back to me setting alerts, because I will be walking away. I can't really set my second fib over here, as in the second target. My first target I'm setting at the pullback over here, but the second target, I can't really set it right now. I'll put it here. But I'd like to be alerted if eventually over the next little while, and I don't want it to be right at the 50, right? I want it to be above the 50. And if we make new highs again, I want to be alerted if it comes down to this area over here, right? Around the 30,010, let's say. This is where I'd like to be alerted. And this is where I'd come and look at it, and I'd come and see, did we really sell from did we have an impulse sell for the continuation down, which I would not trust the short today because the bulls are absolutely in control, or are we pulling back to reload? And this is where I would possibly get into the continuation long. So that's how I set my levels. MES, I'm not seeing much. It's a low Friday. There's going to be some sellers over here, but I don't think I'd want to short this. Could always do the fib from here to, don't know where the high is, but for now it's there. And I'd set an alert just above the 50 here. If it pulls back into this area here, then I'd come and look at it for the possibility of continuing. MGC, I'm not seeing much. There was some selling here pre-market, right? Selling 3 fair value gaps. So this is where we started selling. This is where we started buying, made its way into the 50, and then just blew past the 61.8. Therefore, that fib I would get rid of. From the open, we did sell. So from the open, we started selling at the top over here, and then came down. I wish I'd been, oh no, it hadn't happened yet. So this is what I'd be looking at on gold. Don't like that there's not a lot of room to the left here. It did pre-market. It did wick up and take out liquidity above here and then move down. And now it's pulling back up. So I don't trust the short from the 50 here. Right. But this is what I look at constantly. MCL. It's just chopping around, waiting on news, what's going on with Iran. M2K. I was thinking this morning when I saw this, I was thinking that it might want to continue down and close this gap. But I wasn't really seeing that much there. So, and I'm still not seeing anything. Just big, massive candles here. So this points to indecision. MYM, wiki choppy. Right, we were selling, but then pulled right back in, selling again. The pullbacks are fairly large from here to the bottom here. This one here would have worked. Right, came down, pulled back into the 50, short from there. So on MYM, come on. There you go. So that continuation down would have worked. There you go, 1030. All right, so I'm going to walk away, folks. And hopefully that was, I was able to answer a few questions, especially concentrating on the my fib strategy here. And I'll be back tomorrow. Okay, have a great day. Thank you, Suzanne. Thanks, Hamza. Thanks, everyone. All right, the room remains open, so I'm just going to stop the recording and log off. Yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, cheers.